have it be exactly like Metal Gear Solid 3. So, Shin Kawasang and Kimura-san, the lead level artist, went and looked through a bunch of photos and tried to find what location they wanted to use. And South America kind of stood out for its kind of unique landscape with these rocky mountains and kind of sparse vegetation, I guess you could say. I mean, it's still a forest and still jungle, but it's a completely different feel from Metal Gear Solid 3.
Yeah, it's not as much as jungly, with all these. The color settings is different. You have the dirt color,
right?
You have the greens and moss greens and things like that. But there's one thing that's really standing out in this, especially when you look to the right, that there's a... Ken, you want to explain about this?
Oh, the sign?
Yeah, the sign.
Right next to the tower, there is one sign. That's a PMC sign.
The white billboard.
Yeah, white billboard.
White and red?
Red, top and bottom, red lines, and that's a PMC sign.
And, it does kind of stand out, and that's intentional also, is, we wanted the player to kind of have this feeling of paranoia while they're in the jungle. No matter where they go, PMC is always there, and they're in control of the area. So like in the Middle East, where you see PMC flyers on the walls, we wanted to do something similar in South America. So we went ahead and put these giant billboards in here just to kind of raise the level of paranoia.
Yeah, well, who in the world would kind of see this billboard, right? I mean, in the middle of a battlefield.
Well, it's for the people who are fighting, right?
Yeah, well, but...
Some soldier might gonna change their mind and
Yeah.
join the PMC.
Exactly.
I see. It's really odd. Once you notice it, when I played the game for the first time, I didn't really notice at first sight. It was more maybe subliminal, but when you actually see it from the location of the motor, it really stands out. It's really strange because you don't see any advertisement usually in battlefiels. I mean,
especially in the middle of the jungle.
Yeah, if it's an industrial area, that's a different story, but it's really funny, come to think of it.
Right.
Any interesting stories, Ken, Sean, about this area and this part?
Well, one interesting story about the mortar itself is, if you press triangle to go ahead and use the mortar, when you're moving it around, you hear kind of this clicking sound that it makes when you rotate it.
Yeah.
And that was in there from the beginning, and we wanted to do that because the mortar actually makes that sound when you rotate it, so we wanted to keep that. But something that got added later on in the development process was the fact that when Snake gets really tired, he starts swaying around, swaying, and becomes really unstable. And at the end, we kind of put it in there where whenever he's using any weapon, including the mortar, he'll be weak and unable to hold himself still. And so what happens is he's kind of like, swaying around on this mortar, and the thing is just constantly clicking.
So annoying.
Yeah, it was very annoying. But the problem was, because it was added late in the development process and nobody really bothered to check this mortar, and it was too late for us to fix it. But luckily, I guess you could say it's luck, the game came back for another reason, and that gave us another chance to go ahead and sneak this fix in. So we went ahead and did that, and now, we got rid of that annoying click, even
Lucky.
if Snake is
Lucky.
tired. Yes,
Very
lucky. Very, very lucky.
Oh, so the people will never kind of actually see what was the original.
Right, they'll never see that annoying click.
Okay, all right. Okay.
Okay, so next let's move on down to the power station itself. So to your right, you'll see this fence and a slope leading down.
Oh, okay.
So let's just follow this slope, sneak along this fence, and head down to the power station. You'll see some lumber piled up at the bottom. So let's take cover behind the pile of lumber to your right.
Okay, so we're going to sneak into the power station from the right side. Right?
Yeah,
Okay.
so if you look at the power station, it should be right ahead of you. There's a truck parked in front of it, and there's two ways to get in. You'll see one entrance in this brick wall here, kind of directly in front of you. Then behind the truck, there's a gate that's open, and you can also get in through that gate.
Which is easier? Are we going to go through the gate?
So yeah, let's head through the gate. That's a little bit easier, so be very careful and
Not to get spotted.
don't get spotted. And just kind of run over to behind this truck and take cover. Be careful.
Careful.
Yeah, there are guys on the other side of this fence also, so duck down, get your octocamel working, and take these guys out before you move forward, or you will be spotted.
Well, if you get spotted, let's say you turn this off and take them out, and then come back.
Yeah, exactly. Right now we're in the middle of a war zone, so I'm sure a lot of people are having to fight their way through this, so don't hesitate to take your iPod off and just come back.
Okay, we'll go through the gate, and then...
Then there's a staircase
to this.
right on the other side of the gate,
Yeah.
kind of to your left. So head up that staircase and enter the power station through this door on the north side of the building. Okay, you'll see a fan near the door, so you know you're in the right spot. And go ahead and head through the door directly ahead of you, and that leads into another room kind of in the southern half of the building.
Yeah.
And in this room, you'll see the generators.
Oh.
Yeah.
Generators on the right, and then at the far end of the room, you'll see a window, and to the left of that is a board that controls the generators.
Yeah.
And what you want to do is blow this up to disable the power plant. And there's actually two ways to destroy this. You can blow it up yourself by using explosives, or if you just kind of sit around and wait for a little while. Once you get into this building, the rebels will kind of fight their way in also, and they may come in and go ahead and blow it up on their own.
Yeah, that's what I thought, because when I played for the first time, there were so many enemies around me, so I didn't notice that I had to blow this up. But it kind of shut down automatically, so I thought it was kind of an event.
Well, it happens either way. So you can blow it up yourself,
Yeah.
or you can wait for the rebels to bust in and blow it up for you.
Does it eventually, the rebels will blow it up if you don't do it?
It depends, right?
It depends, right? If you manage to fight your way into the power station, then you kind of open the way for the rebels to follow you, and then they'll come in and blow it up. If you just sit outside the power station, it won't move forward. Basically, it's a stalemate with, the PMC fighting the rebels, and nobody really gets the advantage until Snake kind of pierces through the PMC defense and gets into the power station.
I see.
Then the rebels can come in and blow this up.
So what's the advantage of shutting down this power station?
Well, one thing is, as I'm sure most people have noticed by now, once the generators stop, the war zone kind of settles down. And, basically it means victory for the rebels, and the PMCs have pretty much pulled out of the area at that point. You can tell that the power's off, because if you look around, you see those fans, the circulation fans that were turning earlier in the room that we came through are now stopped. And the generator will no longer be humming, so you know that you've accomplished your mission, and the rebels have succeeded in shutting down the power plant. Okay, so what you want to do is there's a window at the, near that control panel that got blown up. There's a window to the right of that, so let's just go ahead and jump out that window, and you'll end up behind the power station. If you climb up this ladder, it goes up onto this tower.
Okay, so we're gonna climb up the ladder. We're climbing up the ladder now.
Okay. One thing I want to point out too is, a lot of people don't really realize how much effort goes into making the octocam for Snake. But every surface in the game had to be assigned a certain octocam texture, including this grate on this electric tower. Some really interesting patterns that you can take. So if you go down and take this octocam, you can see Snake kind of has this fishnet
kind of texture.
Yeah, it's kind of a snake-looking, fishnet-looking pattern. So you can get these kind of cool patterns. And one thing to point out that some people may not realize is that you can actually save these patterns. And
Oh, that's right.
right. So yeah, maybe let's just point that out. If you go into your menu and go down to camouflage, you'll see there's cloth and chest. So go ahead and select cloth.
So right now we have this camel called fence camel.
Right.
So that Sean just picked up.
So I have the fence camo, and if you select from the camouflage menu, you select cloth, and at the bottom of that you'll see an option that says to register camo pattern. If you do that, you can register it as a new camo pattern, and it'll be added to your list of patterns. And you can select that at any time during the game by loading that pattern. So, no matter what stage you're on, you can load these kind of interesting patterns just to kind of customize Snake's looks. So, it's kind of fun. And there's some pretty weird patterns in the game too. Like, if you lay down between two surfaces, half of your body is on tile and another half is on some kind of grass. Or, some people might want to go and gather some patterns if they're interested. But anyway, here we are at the top of this electric tower. And if you head to the northwest corner of the tower, you'll see there's an electric line heading off to another tower to the north. And you can actually hang off of this line and head to that adjoining tower. So let's go ahead and do that, because there are some really cool items on that side. So go ahead and jump over the fence, grab onto the wire, and just kind of inch your way along to the other side.
Okay, now this reminds me, when I first played, as I explained, that I didn't turn off the power plant. And I was just, sneaking. There's a lot of enemies, but I knew there was a way to get to the other side of the power plant. But there was a wall that, resisted for me to get there. And I knew I had to kind of do this stunt. But since I didn't turn this off, you get this electric shock. I bet a lot of people had this when they first played. They didn't know how to turn this off. And I had to fight. I think not die, but kind of fell off a couple of times because people start noticing you and start shooting you at the same time and electrifies you as well. So I was like bashing my buttons to, just say, Snake, move. And then at the very last second, I think this was programmed as well, that you could actually make